I used to think that once I made enough money, I would finally be free. Free from other people's opinions. Free from needing approval. Free from the invisible pressure of being liked, chosen, desired, respected. I thought money would build a wall between me and the world. A beautiful wall. A soft wall. Maybe even a glamorous one. I imagined that once I had enough, I would wake up one day and stop caring. I would stop caring if a stranger stared at me for too long. I would stop caring if a client misunderstood me. I would stop caring if someone charged more than me, looked better than me, seemed more confident than me. I would stop caring if the market went up without me or down right after I bought. I thought freedom was a number in the bank account, a number in my investment portfolio, a number attached to my hourly rate, a number that would finally prove I am safe now. But the strange thing is, as the numbers became bigger, I did not automatically become freer. I became more capable. I had more choices. I had more protection. I had more room to say no. But inside, there was still a part of me that was waiting for the world to confirm that I was enough. For a long time, I believed that if I gave enough, people would see my value. If I was generous enough, soft enough, pretty enough, interesting enough, understanding enough, available enough, then maybe nobody would be disappointed. And for a while, that felt powerful. It felt like I had energy. It felt like I was abundant. It felt like I could give more than other people. But slowly, I started to notice something. Sometimes what I called generosity was not generosity. It was fear. Fear that if I said no, someone would leave. Fear that if I had boundaries, I would seem difficult. Fear that if I charged more, people would question my value. Fear that if I charged less, maybe I was admitting I was worth less, so I stayed in the middle. Not too expensive, because I did not want my whole mind to be tied to one client. Not too cheap, because I still needed to respect my own energy. And even then, I would look around and compare. Someone else was charging more. Someone else seemed more confident. Someone else seemed to know exactly who they were. And suddenly, my peace would disappear. Not because anything had actually changed in my life, but because I had allowed someone else's price to become a judgment on my existence. That was when I realized something uncomfortable. Money can give you options, but money does not automatically give you inner authority. You can have money and still ask the world for permission to exist. You can have beauty and still scan every room for rejection. You can have clients and still wonder if you are truly wanted. You can have a growing portfolio and still feel controlled by one red candle on a stock chart. The outside can change faster than the nervous system. The bank account can grow faster than the self-image. And sometimes, the most successful-looking version of you is still carrying the same old question. Am I safe now? Investing taught me this in a very direct way. At first, I thought investing was about choosing the right companies. And of course, that matters. But after a while, I realized investing is also a mirror. The market does not only show you prices. It shows you your own greed, your impatience, your fear of missing out, your need to be right, your relationship with uncertainty. When a stock goes up, it asks, do you really believe in your thesis, or do you just like being rewarded? When a stock goes down, it asks, did you understand what you bought, or were you borrowing confidence from the crowd? When something doubles after you sold, it asks, can you accept that you made money but did not capture everything? The market is very good at finding the part of you that still wants to be validated. And that is why money alone cannot make you free. Because freedom is not just having more. Freedom is being less controlled by the meaning you attach to what you have. There was a time when I thought the solution was to become stronger, more confident, more disciplined, more detached, less sensitive. But I do not think that is the full answer anymore, because sensitivity is not always weakness. Sometimes sensitivity is information. It tells you where you are still giving your power away. It tells you what kind of approval you are still addicted to. It tells you which situations drain you, even if they look profitable from the outside. For me, freedom did not begin with becoming untouchable. It began with noticing the exact moments when I was touched too easily. A message from a client, a stranger looking at me, a comparison with another woman, a price moving against me, a feeling that someone else was living more beautifully, more freely, more confidently. These moments were not random. They were little doors. Each one opened into the same room. The room where I was still asking, do I have permission to be myself? One of the strangest things I learned is that sometimes a very small object can become a boundary. For example, sunglasses. When I wear sunglasses, the world feels slightly less invasive. People can still look at me. I can still smile. I can still be soft. But there is a layer between their eyes and my nervous system. It is not about hiding. It is about choosing how much of myself I give to the room. And maybe that is what a real boundary is. Not a wall, not aggression, not coldness. A boundary is a filter. It says, I can meet the world, but I do not have to absorb all of it. This changed the way I think about work. Before, I thought being good at my work meant giving more. More attention, more emotional availability, more flexibility, more sweetness, more understanding. Now I think being good at my work also means knowing what not to give. Not every person should have access to my full energy. Not every request deserves an explanation. Not every disappointment is my responsibility. Not every client is worth the money. That last sentence took me a long time to accept. Because when you have spent part of your life trying to be chosen, saying no can feel like wasting an opportunity. But sometimes the opportunity is not the booking. Sometimes the opportunity is the moment you choose yourself. I used to think pricing was just a business decision. Now, I think pricing is also a psychological contract. If I price too high for the stage I am in, I may start feeling trapped by the expectation. If I price too low, I may attract people who consume more than they appreciate. So the question is not simply, how much can I charge? The deeper question is, what price allows me to stay open, relaxed, and self-respecting? That is a very different question. It is not about proving I am better than someone else. It is about designing a life where my nervous system is not constantly being auctioned. I think many people secretly live this way. Maybe not through the same work. Maybe not through the same identity. Maybe not through the same kind of exposure. But the pattern is familiar. We try to earn enough so nobody can look down on us. We try to become attractive enough so nobody can reject us. We try to become successful enough so nobody can question us. We try to become interesting enough so nobody gets bored. And then one day we realize the world can still look down. People can still reject. Someone can still question. Someone can still leave. And then what? Do we lose ourselves again? Or do we finally begin building something that does not collapse every time another person has an opinion? For me, that something is not confidence in the loud sense. It is not waking up every day thinking I am amazing. It is quieter than that. It is the ability to come back to myself faster, to notice when I am spiraling, to notice when I am comparing, to notice when I am trying to turn someone's attention into oxygen. It is the ability to say, "This feeling is real, but it is not the whole truth." And sometimes that is enough. Not enough to make me perfectly calm, but enough to stop me from handing over the steering wheel. I still like money. I like what money can do. Money can buy time. Money can buy privacy. Money can buy better environments. Money can buy distance from people and situations that slowly destroy you. I do not romanticize struggle. I do not think poverty makes people more spiritual. I do not think wanting a beautiful life is shallow. I love beauty. I love comfort. I love good hotels, good coffee, good clothes, flowers, gardens, light, space. I love the feeling that life is not only something to survive, but something to arrange. But now I know money is not the final freedom. Money is a tool, a powerful tool. But the person holding the tool still needs to grow. Otherwise, money just gives your old fears a more expensive room to live in. One of the places where I feel most free is not a luxury store or a hotel or even a market win. It is my garden. When I am in the garden, I do not need to perform. The plants do not care if I am impressive. A rose does not ask for my income. A leaf does not compare me with another woman. Soil does not care about my brand. In the garden, small decisions are enough. Cut this branch, move this pot, water this bed. Wait! There is something deeply calming about being in a world where growth cannot be forced. You can support it. You can prepare the environment. You can remove what is dead, but you cannot scream a flower into blooming. And maybe people are like that too. Maybe freedom is not something I can force myself into. Maybe it is something I create conditions for. A little more money, a little more space, a little more honesty, a little more boundary, a little less performance. So when I say, I thought money would make me free, I do not mean that money failed me. Money did help me. It gave me leverage. It gave me choices. It gave me proof that I could build something. It gave me distance from certain fears. But money did not finish the work. It only revealed the next layer. After survival, there is self-respect. After self-respect, there is discernment. After discernment, there is freedom. Not the dramatic kind of freedom where you never care again, but the quiet kind. The kind where someone can misunderstand you and you do not immediately abandon yourself. The kind where someone else can charge more and you do not turn it into a story about your worth. The kind where the market can move and you can still breathe. The kind where you can be seen without feeling owned. I am not completely there yet. I still compare. I still get triggered. I still want to be admired. I still want to win. But I am starting to understand the difference between wanting something and being controlled by it. I can want beauty without becoming a prisoner of being looked at. I can want money without making every dollar a vote on my worth. I can want success without turning my life into a performance for people who are not even paying attention. I can want love, attention, desire, recognition, and still keep myself. That is the part I am learning. Maybe freedom is not the absence of desire. Maybe freedom is having desires without letting them become your owner. So no, money did not magically make me free, but it gave me enough space to ask a better question. Not, how do I become so successful that nobody can hurt me? But, how do I build a life where I do not have to betray myself to feel safe? That is the question I am living now, and maybe that is the real beginning of freedom.